Welcome back, everyone, to Fluent with Teacher Pablo podcast. I'm Mark, and today we're tackling one of the most crucial and nerve-wracking skills for professionals who speak English as a second language: job interviews in English. If you've ever felt anxious before saying, "Tell me about yourself," this episode is for you.
Hey, Mark, and hello to all our listeners. Interviews are high stakes moments, and even native speakers get nervous. But for non native speakers, it can feel like a double challenge. Expressing who you are and doing it in a language that's not your own.
Exactly. And the good news? Confidence and structure can be trained. You don't need perfect grammar. What you need is clarity, strategy, and useful language tools. So to help us unpack this, we're joined today by two fantastic guests.
Yes, please welcome Ravi, a software developer from India who's recently gone through several international interviews in English. Hi, Ravi.
Hi everyone. I'm happy to be here and share what I've learned from both good and bad interview experiences.
And we also have Lucia, a bilingual HR manager based in Argentina. She's interviewed hundreds of candidates for global roles, many of them non-native speakers. Lucia, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Mark. I'm thrilled to be here. Interviews are a skill, and I love helping people develop it.
Let's start with the beginning. The first 5 minutes of an interview can set the tone. So let's break it down. Ravi, when you were preparing for interviews, how did you approach the first question? Can you tell me about yourself?
The classic one. At first, I used to ramble a lot. I would talk too much about my childhood or give unnecessary details. But then I learned a structure from a friend: present, past, future. Now I say something like, I'm currently a back-end developer with 3 years of experience in e-commerce platforms. I started my career working with small businesses in my hometown, where I learned how to adapt quickly. Now I'm looking for an opportunity where I can grow and contribute to a global team.
That's a great structure. Present, past, future gives clarity and shows direction, and it works in any industry.
I agree. When candidates follow a clear structure, it shows confidence. Bonus points if they connect their experience to the company's mission.
Let's give our listeners some useful sentence starters they can memorize. I currently work as my background is in. What attracted me to this role is, and in the future, I hope to.
Okay, let's move on to achievements. This is another big one. How do you talk about your successes without sounding arrogant?
That was difficult for me. I felt shy saying I achieved this or I led that. But I realized that if you don't own your achievements, the interviewer won't either. Now I use phrases like, I'm proud to say that. I contributed to. One of my key accomplishments was.
Exactly. Modesty is fine, but confidence is key. Try saying, one of the highlights of my last job was, I successfully improved. And if you have data, even better.
Here's a formula I share with students. STAR. Situation, task, action, result.
Si te está gustando el contenido de este podcast, te agradecería mucho que me dejes un comentario con cuál sería el siguiente tema que te gustaría ver dentro de estas conversaciones, que te suscribas, me dejes tu like y lo compartas con quien creas que le pueda servir para poder traerte más contenido como este.
Let's do an example. Amanda, can you ask Ravi a behavioral question?
Sure. Tell me about a time when you faced a difficult challenge.
Sure. Last year, we had a major system failure right before a product launch situation. My task was to identify and fix the bug quickly. Task: I collaborated with another developer and stayed up overnight reviewing logs and running tests. Action: we solved the issue within 12 hours and the launch happened on schedule. Result:
Perfect use of STAR, clear and to the point.
Let's talk about trickier questions. Lucia, how do you feel when people answer, my biggest weakness is that I'm a perfectionist?
Oh, God. It's the most common answer. Instead, be honest but strategic. Say something like, I used to struggle with delegation, but I've been improving by mentoring junior staff. This shows you're self-aware and proactive.
That's great. Let's also help people avoid two traps I often see. One, speaking too fast because of nerves. Second, not asking questions at the end.
yes, I learned to slow down and breathe. Also, I prepared 2 to 3 questions to ask the interviewer, like, what does success look like? in this role? What are the biggest challenges the team is facing right now?
Now, let's give our listeners a list of useful phrases they can keep in their toolbox.
Here we go. In my previous role, I was responsible for one of the key lessons I learned was, let me give you an example, to the best of my knowledge. Let me rephrase that.
And for recovering when you make a mistake, sorry, I misspoke. What I meant to say was, let me clarify that.
I've used, that's a great question. Let me think for a moment. It buys time and shows thoughtfulness.
Lucia, in your experience, what makes a candidate stand out?
3 things. 1. Preparation. They've researched the company. 2. Clarity. They use simple, structured answers. 3rd, connection. They show why they care about the role.
Ravi, what would you say to a listener who's nervous about doing their first English interview?
I'd say practice out loud every day. Don't memorize answers, memorize patterns and connectors. And remember, it's okay to make mistakes. Just keep going.
Beautifully said. Today, we covered structure, vocabulary, strategy, and confidence. If you want to go deeper, check the show notes for a free guide with sample answers and all the useful phrases we mentioned today.
Thanks again to Ravi and Lucia, and to all our listeners. You've got this. Go into your interview prepared, positive, and proud.
This was Fluent with Teacher Pablo podcast. Subscribe for more episodes to improve your fluency and confidence in real-world English. See you next time.